Okay. Hi, this is Me Before Mom, the podcast that helps moms stay connected to themselves while doing the most important job they'll ever have. And I'm your host, Bert Anderson. Hey, guys, it's Bert. You are listening to Me Before Mom. And today I want to talk to you about social media. Yes, my friends. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and well, I would say she's an acquaintance. Our daughters are friends. And I don't even know why we were talking about it. I had seen a show recently, which I'm going to tell you about later, but it got us talking about social media. And we started talking about how her son has a smartphone now, and she was telling me how is on some social media apps. And I said something to the effect of, "Yeah, I really should get my son a phone because there are no pay phones anymore. My kids wouldn't even know how to use a payphone if there was a payphone around." There have been several times in middle school when my son has had to use his friend's phone or he has to go into the office to use the school office phone. He doesn't have a cell phone. And he certainly will never ever get a smartphone. More on that later. But so I was just saying, like, yeah, he doesn't have a smartphone, and I know too much about social media. If you don't know, and this is the first time you're listening to Me Before Mom, in my day job, when I'm not talking in your ears, I am a social media manager. So I have been doing social media since 2011. Um, Sorry if you guys heard that. I was taking a drink of water. Um, so anyway, so I've been doing this. I've been in this game for a really, really, really long time. Um, and I just have seen it. I've seen the benefits of social media. And I've kind of seen how it's turned into the wild, wild west. And so we were just going back and forth, and she was telling me how you know, it's been hard and it's been a battle because her kid comes home and he's like, I don't know what my friends are talking about. I don't play the same games that they play. I don't um I don't know like the trends that are happening on, let's say TikTok or Snapchat. And she's like, so we caved and we let him get a phone, and we're being restrictive. But it's like with anything, if you give a kid an inch, they'll take a mile. And that is so true Um, with anything in parenting. It's like as soon as they know that that you will cave on one thing, they just keep pressing you for the other things. So like as soon as my son figured out, I think he was like 5, that he could bargain with me or negotiate. Like, okay, well, here's my punishment, but what if I do this? Would that be okay? And I let it happen once. And now it is a never ending argument that we have every single time I say, okay, go to your room. You have no screens for the rest of the day. Okay, but if I do this, then can I have screens? And it's like, no, that is not what I said. Anyways, so we were just talking about like just parenting and this time of parenting right now, like we are the first parents who have experienced this. Our kids are growing up in a time with easy access to, let's see, how many different social media platforms. If you think about it, you have Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Tumblr. Gosh, what else, guys? That's 6. Did I say Instagram? I didn't say Instagram. 7. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. 7 so far that I have counted. But 7 social media platforms. I mean, think about that. And we know for a fact that these social media platforms, they affect our mental health. They affect my mental health. So how is it not going to affect a developing mind? I have a hard enough time seeing because I have FOMO, which is fear of missing out. If you don't know what that means, I have FOMO big time. So I can only imagine if my 12-year-old, who is very similar to me, were to see that all of his friends are getting together and he's not invited and he didn't know about it, he's going to feel the exact same way. Not only that, but I have two girls. One is 10 years old, so she's like a preteen, and the hormones are there and surging. And so one minute she's like the sweetest little thing as can be, and then the next minute she's like yelling at me, and then the minute after that she's like back to being sweet again. So if you give her some type of a device that she can just pop her mouth off and hide behind a screen, I mean, that's like dangerous. And she just hides behind a screen, and then there's no repercussions because she doesn't have to hear, or see the reaction from the person on the other side. So I guess that is what holds me back from allowing my kids to have access to social media. Um, and I think this is just a thing for our family. Like I kind of have decided that this is going to be the sword I'm going to land on and die on, and I'm not. I think as parents, if there's anything that we can do right, especially in this time, it is to really stand firm and protect our kids from until they get more restrictions, to these platforms. We have to be kind of like the protectors of our kids' minds. Because, their human brain is not done developing, I think, until you're like 25 years old. That's why teenagers do stupid things because they do not have the cognitive reasoning to think through consequences of their actions until they're in their 20s. They just don't. It's not there. So we're giving them devices that can have life-changing, you know, it gives them the potential to make a life-changing decision for themselves and other people, and we're just handing it to them willingly and just being like, "Okay, here you go. Good luck." So here is my advice to you. Before you do this, before you give your kid a device, I want you to get onto every single social media platform there is out there. And I want you to know the ins and outs of it. You don't need to follow your kids, but I want you to understand it. I'll list a few different resources that I have. One, there's a group on Facebook. It's a private group, and it's called Parenting in a Tech World, I think is what it's called. I use it frequently. It's great. It's full of other parents who are kind of very aware of like just being in this very technologically driven culture and kind of like how do we navigate this. And so, it's kind of this very big, um, just a resource of parents who are all kind of working together to like figure out ways to make things not so bad. So, like, it took us a while to get a Nintendo Switch. And before we got it, I went on there and I was like, okay, I want to know, like, is there a way for me to control this? And, the parents on there helped me set up parental controls and showed me how to do it. And so it made the process of buying the Switch a lot easier and it wasn't as nerve wracking or scary. And the one who became addicted to the Switch was me because I started playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is a beautiful game. Anyways, I digress. Um, but if any of you, have little kids even, and they're watching tons of YouTube, I hate YouTube. I love it for myself, but I'm a grown up and I know when to stop watching it. Kids do not know when to stop watching it. One of the things that I do in my house is I have restricted turned on. Um, and things slip through. YouTube is trying to do a good job of filtering um, content and what is seen, especially if they know that a kid is watching it. But things slip through. It's not a foolproof way of them, filtering. It's not a foolproof system. Um, but I think one of the things that I think kids forget about and adults even forget about when they're watching, like, kid YouTube stars or mommy vloggers, not bloggers, is that every single ev- every single thing that you're watching is a money making view for the content creator, if that makes sense. So, for example, I am considered an influencer because I'm a blogger and I have um a semi large following. But I've been doing this for a really long time. And so I think the old school bloggers still have, we remember when it was hard to get people to pay attention to us and to listen to what we had to say. And so I think there's still this attitude of authenticity that we like there's just some things we aren't willing to do because we want to be taken seriously. Unfortunately, a view is a view is a view. And on something like YouTube, a view is money. So the more you do and the more outlandish something is, the more money you make. I tell my kids this all the time because they'll try to do like, a try not to laugh or challenge or something else, or like my son was trying to do like the hottest Dorito chip challenge, thing recently, and it was really a very lame um challenge that he was doing, but even that, a view is a view is a view. And so I've told my kids time and time again when they're watching YouTube, I'm like, you have to keep in mind that when you are like if you are watching something or if you are on a social media platform for free, you need to understand that you are the product. So think about that. If you are watching anything on the internet for free, you are the product. Brands are on there and they are paying for you to interact with ads and to see their ads. So that means that Facebook or YouTube, they are looking, like the brand is looking for Facebook and YouTube to deliver on choosing the best people who are going to interact with their brand according to the audience that they're trying to sell to. And I do this all the time because I set up Facebook ads. And it can get like really, really specific, guys. And I'm not telling you this so that you're like, oh my gosh, the world is terrible. What have we done? I hate this. Blah, blah, blah. That's not my point. My point is to tell you this and to explain this to you so that you can start looking at things without rose-colored glasses so that we can help our kids look at things honestly without rose-colored glasses on. So, a story that came out was this YouTuber mom, and there have been a few of these where family vloggers have had to like delete their accounts because they have, they include their kids on their accounts and they are trying to get more views. And so because of that, they have to keep upping the ante in what they're doing, and it is just bad. So this mom, she's a single mother. I'll post the article because I think her account is still gone. Um, this mom has an 8-year-old son, and they had a puppy. The puppy had a potentially um, life-threatening disease. So she set the video camera up in the car and was telling her son about the diagnosis about their puppy and how this puppy could maybe die. And and in while she's doing this, I'm going to read to you from the article what she's saying. So she's like, her son he's 8 years old. He's already crying. And she has like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And she says to him, come closer. And then she pulls him towards her and she says, act like you're crying. And then her son says, I am crying. Mom, I'm actually seriously crying. And then she coaches him to scrunch up his face and told him to wail in a certain way and told him how to place his hand. And then she said, let them see your mouth. Look at the camera. I don't know why she posted this to her YouTube. Like, I don't know what she was thinking at all. Because it makes her look terrible. But I think sometimes we're so when your life and your the way you make money is based on YouTube or Instagram, you get stuck in this cycle of it has to be bigger, it has to be better, it has to be more, it has to be outlandish. And then you get yourself into these like situations where you just are not even thinking and you do dumb things. Like upload a video of you coaching your son, or there's some things like, every Halloween you will see videos that will come out where parents are telling their kids in the morning after Halloween, I ate all your candy, so that they can watch their kids cry. Like like that's mean. And they do, and every Halloween they do it. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. But like would I wonder if we maybe a few parents would have done that like in the 90s and early 2000s just to be kind of funny, but they wouldn't have filmed it. It would have just been a funny joke. But now it's a funny joke because we're trying to go viral. And there's no rhyme or reason to the viral post. I will tell you this. I tell my son all the time because he always tries to do it. I'm like, I would love to have a viral Facebook post and go like, get super famous and then my podcast will be super famous and that's all I have to do. I would love to. I have been trying for 10 years. And you know what? Here I am 10 years later and no viral post. There's no rhyme or reason. Like it's just right place, right time, right content, right subject. And we have to be willing to filter out those things and talk very openly and honestly with our kids about this so that they can see past it. There is a documentary on Netflix. If you have, I think I think that kids who are in like for sure 6th grade can watch this. Um, maybe depending on, I don't know. If you have a 5th grader and younger, I would watch the documentary first and then decide if your 5th grader can watch it. But for sure 6th grade and up. It's called The Social Dilemma and it is on Netflix, but it came out in 2020. And it is by this group called the Center for Humane Technology, um, which is a nonprofit organization, and they are working very actively to try to set forth some rules and regulations for social media. And they're trying to, they have like a toolkit for parents and educators to help them, kind of guide their kids and understand like just how to navigate, like how do we like live in a world where there is such a deep relationship with technology. How do we have a healthy relationship? The guy who kind of headed up the Center for Humane Technology was one of the designers for Gmail. And so his task, he was on the team that designed how to make Gmail appealing enough that people would want to check it hourly. And one of the things they looked at was they looked at slot machines and the psychology between slot machines. And so from that, you look at like Facebook and the like button and all that other stuff. I mean, think about it. Like when you put something exciting up on Facebook, I do it too. And I'm a social media manager. I do it too. I'm always looking at my likes, like, ooh, how many likes do I have? It's very silly. But it's this dopamine fix that we get in our brains and it's designed that way. I mean, they have guys on there from Pinterest who they created algorithms, and they helped design these platforms the way they are so that we keep wanting to go back to them, and then they in this documentary are coming back and saying like, we wanted this to be a really good thing. It is not a good thing and it's out of control and we have to get it back. It was really eye opening for Brennan, my son, to watch this, um, because it does a really great job of showing how an algorithm works and how it targets people to continue to want to go back to the social media platform, whichever one it is, and just how damaging it can be to psyche. Like a lot of and people always think of girls when it comes to body image problems, um, and Instagram, but a lot of teenage boys are having severe like body image problems, distorted body image and eating disorders because of Instagram. I mean, think about it. You're like you're always bombarded with a certain image, and those images are fake. I remember when Instagram first came out, and I was like an early adopter to it. One of the reasons it was funny because it wasn't curated. Like it wasn't supposed to be the best pictures out there. It was instant. It was Instagram. It was like an instant thing. Like my view at the moment was one of the things that you did on Instagram. It was taking the best part of Facebook, which was pictures of people and seeing their lives and then putting them up for them to see. And that was what it was supposed to be. And then it turned into this thing where, and I'm guilty of this because I handle social media for different brands. Like, then we figured out a way to make money from it and to push products out. And for a while, I mean, it's been great for small businesses who don't have the budget to, you know, to get out there and, use like spend tons of money that they don't have on their business. Social media has been great for the small business owners. But now all the big guys have come to play, and so now we have to find more creative ways to make it happen. I don't know. I could talk about this forever, guys. I really could. I could. But I know. We can be living in a really 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 dark time if we think about it, and I think every single generation of parents probably feel the same way about something that their kids are going through, where the generation of parents before them and their parents like didn't have to go through it all. Ours just happens to be technology, and we have to figure out how to do this. And the best way is to learn the technology yourself and go on there. Do not post anything. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just go on there and lurk and watch, and you will be amazed by the things you see. I remember the first time I was on TikTok, I was on there for an hour and a half straight. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's an hour. I've been on here for 90 minutes. Like, what on earth have I been doing? It's like, and the TikTok, I think at the time, and I don't remember, I think it's only like 60 seconds long, the clips are. Like, what on earth am I doing? I've been watching like 90 minutes worth of TikToks. But it's addicting and it's so interesting. But there's also a lot of really like just garbage out there too. But then there are really great people who are artists, and they're like really great cosplayers out there and funny people who do amazing things. And so the internet and social media is not always bad. And that's what I want for my kids to understand. They just need to understand how to navigate and filter through those things, which is why it's important for you to know the ins and outs of the apps that your kids are using. So I will put all of these great resources for you in the show notes. You can reach out to me whenever you want. And I'm going to tell you the thing that I always tell you, because this is going to be scary and some of you are going to want to stick your head in the sand, but I'm going to tell you that this is the one area that you absolutely under no circumstance can pretend doesn't exist, because technology is here and it's only going to get more advanced whether you like it or not. So during all of this, I want you to be kind to yourself. Always be kind. Hello, everybody. We are going to talk about what are my children reading?
What are they reading?
What are they reading? Oh, it's kind of like a reading rainbow. The reading rainbow. Anyways.
I love LeVar Burton. Shout out LeVar Burton!
He is the best, is he not?
He is the best.
And I love, have you listened to his LeVar Burton Reads podcast?
I have. Yes, I have.
Yes, it's very relaxing.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Um, so the books that I am reading with my children, well, it's mainly my middle child because she wants to read chapter books and she and I both like fantasy and sci-fi. My son does too, but he's in 7th grade now, so he doesn't really sit down and read books with me anymore. But there is this book, it's being turned into a Netflix series and it's called The School for Good and Evil. Um, what is the name of the it is has like a cult following and now I have to look it up because um yeah, The School for Good and Evil. I'm totally gonna butcher his name. It's by Soman Chiani.
Where is he
Chiani.
from?
I think he is from. I think his parents are from India.
Cool.
Um. So I mean, so there's 5 books. It's amazing. I feel have I talked about this at all?
No.
I feel like I may have talked about this, but I probably have I've talked about this with a lot of people because I love the books. But it's kind of what it does is it's it's about these 2 girls who are complete opposites and they live in this village. And every year, um, children are taken from this village, like kidnapped, and they're taken to um, this place, and it's a school called the School for Good and Evil. And what it is it's a school for fairy tales. And so you have a good side and a bad side. And Sophie and Agatha are their names. Sophie befriends Agatha, who is kind of like the village weirdo and nerd. And Sophie, her only reason for befriending Agatha is because she wants to be in the school for good so she can be a princess. So she has no good intentions to being Agatha's friend. So they get there to the school for good and evil, and lo and behold, Agatha is in the school for good, and Sophie is in the school for evil.
Of course.
Of course. Um, so it is about their story, and it is about friendship, and what's on the inside, what that matters. Agatha kind of finds herself because her outward appearance is not. When you see her, she is not like strikingly beautiful the way Sophie is, but she has a great heart. Um, and it's very good, super good. The books are really long. It's annoying that I'm reading it with my child because I can't read ahead, and I would just like to sit and finish the books already.
Is it like Harry Potter, but like friendship?
Kind of. Yeah, it is kind of like Harry Potter, and that there's a lot of characters and there's a lot of lore to it. And that is really cool. So like one of the characters, his dad is Arthur from Camelot. So like there's that story is weaved into it. I think the big bad wolf, there's a werewolf in there too. And the interesting thing is that I'm not giving anything away by saying this, but in the school for evil, like you can become a villain, and those are like the best students. But then the worst students become like a rock that the villain steps on.
That's funny.
I know, like, and the same thing for like the school for good. The worst students become like a flower in the field. So everybody has a job.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what would I be?
I don't know. I hope you have good grades in the school for good and evil.
Oh, geez, that's high pressure. That sounds stressful.
Yeah, so definitely check out that book. And then the other series that I have to suggest, I haven't actually read it, but my daughter has been flying through the books, is called Wings of Fire, and it's about dragons.
Oh my god, I love dragons. I'm about to get a dragon back tattoo.
Oh, well, she will love that.
Oh, cool.
She is all into dragons and wishes that they were real. Maybe they are.
Maybe they are!
That's what she thinks.
I'm on her page.
It's by it's 2T Sutherland. Tuit Sutherland. So, again, it's a series of children's fantasy novels. There are, oh gosh, I guess they're on the 14th. There's 14 books at the time that we were recording this. So there are 14 Wings of Fire books.
Holy crap.
Yes. So she's on I think the 8th book, 7th or 8th book. She brings the books wherever she goes. She stays up until like 11:30 at night reading. So I would say that this series of books this is the series of books that has turned my daughter into a reader.
How long are they?
Some of them are like 250 pages.
Dang.
So yeah, they're not short. And then of course I have to say Harry Potter, because how can you not love
Harry Potter rules all.
I know. My son finished Harry Potter during COVID, during the first lockdown.
That's a great time to read it.
Yep. That is what he did. So, yep. He loves Harry Potter.
Those are some good suggestions.
Thank you. Yeah. And then he also read Lord of the Rings and loved it.
Oh my gosh, I love Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
But I've only read the first one.
Yeah, I think he only read the first one too. I'm trying to think if he read the second one. I think he may have read it. I'll have to ask him. I don't know.
Does he like Dune?
He has not read it yet. I started reading Dune. I felt like I needed a dictionary to read Dune, or an encyclopedia, because there's so many characters.
There's so much going on.
And there's so much going on.
Well, I think I'm going to see that movie at some point.
Of course.
I have to, yeah.
Yes. I too will be seeing that movie. I really had a goal of reading Dune before the movie came out, and it just did not happen.
You really got to be in a weird mindset to finish that book.
You do. And like I said, you have to be willing to like write down names on pieces of paper and who goes where and who is who.
Or I just get the idea. I'm like, oh, whatever. I didn't even read that page. Here I go.
I'm just like, wait, what? Who's this person? Huh?
I know. It's a lot.
So, that's that, guys. Those are my book suggestions.
Yay! Those
Yay!
are good ones. Okay.
Thanks.
Until next time.
Until next time. And that is a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And in case you were wondering, Me Before Mom is hosted by me, Bert Anderson, and it is produced by the lovely and talented Sarah Abdel All. You can also check out Matriarch DM for all of the show notes, as well as other amazing podcasts for women, by women. And don't forget to check out my own website, bertmanderson.com, so you can see what's going on in my world. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time.